Hi Kiwi listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton, welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. And also on YouTube where this podcast is restreamed in audio form. Now listeners, I must give you fair warning. This story I'm about to go into contains information about some fairly unsavoury and unpleasant acts which are alleged to have happened at a sumo party. So if you don't wish to hear the full aspects of those unsavoury details, then I advise you to skip to the next episode because this one will cover some issues there. That being said, when is a scandal not a scandal? Well, it's not a scandal when the JSA tells you it's not a scandal. So in 2022, after the Kyushu Basho in Fukuoka, the Nishonoseki wrestlers were letting off some steam at their own accommodation down on the southern island. Now, of course, that involved, as it normally does, a liberal use of alcohol, and we know that sumo wrestlers do like the odd drink. Now, that's if only for high calorie count, which leads them to other issues such as alcoholism, liver issues, and diabetes, but that's not what we're on about today. The Nishonoseki Oyakata, look, you got to remember he's one of the JSA Golden Boys. He's a former wrestler and he's often seen sitting next to the ring performing Shinpan judge duties. So Nishonoseki Oyakata, only saw him recently on an NHK video at his new stable premises, about 60 kilometres, 40 miles north of Tokyo. It's a very new, very elaborate premises. It's actually got 2 dohyo rings, which is a little bit unusual. Anyway, back to the story. Another story, it seems February is the scandal month, broken by another tabloid in the sumo world after they got hold of some footage from an insider party. Now, Takasado, who is Jonadan 10 down the lower divisions, he's lying on the floor face down apparently without any clothes on. And for some reason he spreads his legs and Tomokaze, who is Juryo 7, holding a sake bottle with the sake inside, moves towards him. Now, Kiranyu, who is Makushita 44, grabs Takasado's legs and holds them while he's face down. You can see where this is going. Tomokaze then pushes the bottle into Takasado's behind, and when he pulls it out, Takasado cries out and moves a bit. Tomokaze then moves and puts the bottle in Takasado's mouth and makes him drink from it. Now, look, Takasado does come up. He comes up smiling and laughing and gives a thumbs up. Now, I'm not going to name the other wrestler involved because he was at the time a minor under Japan's law, but he was encouraged to do the same and then put the bottle in Takasado's mouth. And when this happens, the young junior wrestler then opens and drinks a beer. Now remember, the age limit for drinking in Japan is strictly 20 years of age, and this young wrestler was under that age at the time. Now remember, last year Ozeki Onosato got a pretty decent slap for allowing a minor to drink and encouraging him to drink last year. So look, it's all fairly unsavoury, but it's not what you would call bullying in the term that we would naturally give it. There's probably a power of a relationship there that you could explore between a Juryo wrestler and a Jonadan wrestler. Given that Takasado comes up smiling and thumbs up after the actual event, the JSA have basically said they're not taking any action because it was otherwise a consensual act with no element of bullying culture about it, unsavoury as it is. Look, perhaps the most interesting part is that they've taken no action on the underage drinking or against the Oyakata for allowing his charges to involve an underage person in the affair. And some may even claim a bit of preferential treatment given the treatment of Onosato in a similar drinking matter, or even the seriously severe treatment of Hakuho, former Yokozuna, Myagino Oyakata, and his stable after last year's scandal. Well, so it's a scandal without a scandal. No one does it better than the JSA. Now, on to that point, an update on Myagino Stable and Hakuho. With the retirement of Isage Hama and the taking over of the stable by former Yokozuna Teruno Fuji in July, the JSA are finally moving to allow Myagino Stable to, well, reform, we think. after the awful Hokuseiho situation, including bullying, violence and even theft by Hokuseiho, and his immediate retirement in February last year, the Myagino Stable was dissolved, albeit temporarily, and merged into Isagahama. Now, the wrestlers that were left over have been retiring at a fast rate due to the living and training conditions. They were pretty much isolated from society. They weren't allowed to do anything, go anywhere. They were all forced to live in a basement, and it wasn't very good. It almost was punishment in itself for the actions they weren't necessarily responsible for. Anyway, after a year of that and a change of oyakatas, it seems the situation to possibly allow Hakuho to take control again is happening, so we will watch this space. That's it for the moment. Join me again as we touch on the preview for the upcoming March tournament in Osaka. Hakuho listeners, let's learn sumo.